Hey, what's up, friends? Sean here with BlueRidgeSilverhound. Hope everyone's having a great start to your day. Love you guys. All right, so we're gonna have a little bit of a really cool feel-good redemption story here. We have a viewer that unfortunately, and this is the beginning of this video is like incredibly cringeworthy for all of you that have been the hobby, the coin hobby that is, for quite some time. You probably know your stuff. But we have a what I consider to be a relatively newer beginning, not quite into the intermediate territory of collector knowledge. All right. Um, Someone had this individual, she is actually a she, reached out to us and told us about a very harrowing story that happened to her on a recent purchase on Mercari, out of all places. Now, right off the bat, I'm going to tell you right now, I'm not an incredibly huge proponent of shopping on these sites that I'm not used to buying coins from, like Mercari, and I would even throw in. Personally probably wouldn't buy coins from Amazon either, although they've done a really good job with that big gold coin collection that was found out, I think, close to where we live in Northern California. But these third-party sites, that's outside of the scope of some of the kings of the business like eBay and Great Collections, Heritage Auctions, things like that. I mean, you're really asking for it. And sometimes when something looks and appears too good to be true, more than likely it is. So in the case of our viewer, she had spotted a 1955 Lincoln cent on Mercari for only $250. Now, it is a double to die obverse, or is it? But I'll let you guys make that judgment call. Here, I mean, here's the coin flashed up on screen here for you. I took the liberty of taking the coin that this viewer had purchased on Mercari. This was the actual coin on the left. And then on the right, you're going to see a legitimate 1955 double to die obverse Lincoln cent. Straight from Great Collections, by the way. That particular example graded PCGS, I believe, in Mid-State 63 red, if I'm not mistaken. It's a coin that's worth right around $5,000 to $6,000. It's a pretty nice piece. Um, but you're going to notice right away that there's a lot wrong with the coin on the left. The doubling obviously is not consistent of what a genuine 55 double die obverse FS 101 would look like. Furthermore, um, the design and detail and devices, the rims, they're all quite mushy. Okay, which is a common occurrence for a coin that has well, obviously it's a counterfeit. I think we could get to that point right now. But it's going to be one of those things that's very indicative of a coin that is based or produced from a cast process. So it's not a genuine mint example. I don't even think the host coin was a real coin. This thing was made from scratch from some other bogus kind of maybe composition. I don't know. I've never personally held one of these in my hand, nor do I have the desire to do that. These things have been floating around all over the retail market for the better part of the last 2 decades. And I think with the internet age and all that stuff, turn of the century, it's kind of amplified these type of practices where normally some would say, oh, we got to blame China because that's where a lot of them are sourced. Yeah, well, a lot of them are sourced from there, but there's also a lot of them that were produced with a lot of malintent, to really deceive customers, collectors that want those type of coins, and get away with it. And oftentimes they do. Okay, which leaves the hosting site, whether it's Mercari, eBay, or some other type of site, personally responsible for trying to fix this. So our viewer had purchased this coin. $250 is unbelievably cheap. Again, there goes that if it's too good to be true, more than likely it is. $250. If you don't know what you have at this point as a seller in probably one of the biggest US coin varieties on the face of the earth, then more than likely you have been living in a cave for the better part of the last 25 years. And why I say that is, again, the internet has amplified the delivery of information to a lot of people that need it. So our viewer ended up recognizing that this is a coin that she could possibly flip and make probably a good $1,000 to $1,500 off of. The coin, if it were to grade out, would probably end up being a very kind of like middle of the road AU55 grade. One of the common techniques that counterfeiters would employ to give a coin some artificial distressing and age would be to make the coin obviously the oxidized natural color of that particular composition, which in this case is a full brown. The coin was eventually delivered to our viewer. She then took that coin, took new pictures, and had placed it on eBay. And it was probably within that same day that her listing got pulled because there were people, if not other viewers, that actually looked at the coin and reported it as being a counterfeit. It was probably eBay that eventually saw that listing because they do work closely with companies like NGC. Plus, I think they also have that new kind of like stock X-ish type of guarantee where cards and coins and various other collectibles have to be sent to eBay for authentication, and then they get shipped to the customer. Much like the same way that StockX operates. My daughter had bought a purse a few months ago on StockX, and the seller had to send the item to StockX. They authenticate it, and it got sent over to us. As kind of an example. So Mercari obviously does not have such a thing. And I'm going to kind of like point out a few things in the message string between our viewer and Mercari. Well, by the time that our viewer had noticed that her listing got pulled with an explanation, okay, that's where all the red flags kind of come into play. Obviously, if you're early on, kind of like in your numismatic educational process, you're not going to really know that this is not a genuine 55. So, the coin got shit canned essentially off of eBay, and then it's like, oh snap, I have to contact the seller and let them know that you had sold me a fake coin. Well, at this point, maybe a couple days had passed. Guess what? The seller no longer exists on Mercari. They had closed their account, and what do you know? Yeah, that is not the type of behavior that's indicative of a seller, a reseller, or whatever you want to call these people that sells quality, authentic goods. All right, they got their money, they freaking ran. So at this point, it was a battle between the viewer and Mercari to try and get things all squared away. Now, our viewer went to extraordinary lengths to try and get Mercari to do a refund. But Mercari, and just to kind of let you guys know, this is going to be kind of like the process if you do buy a coin from Mercari or maybe some other site or Etsy. Etsy does sell coins. There are people that sell coins on Etsy. Sorry, they're kind of like the host program. But Mercari, again, does not have any kind of third-party authentication collaboration with anybody else. It's like you buy it, you're an owner, right? So our viewer had reached out, and like straight out and said, hey, this coin is counterfeit. I demand a refund. Okay, which is cool. I mean, at this point, your emotional level is like heightened up to another level. Okay. And yeah, for some of you, you're going to say, well, it's only $250, but it's still a good chunk of money. Okay. Let's say someone that makes net $2,500 a month, 250 is not nothing. And that's like a true gamble there at that point. You buy it, you flip it, you hope to make $1,000, and then that $1,000, to a lot of people can pay for rent. It can pay off credit cards. It could do a lot of things. So definitely not a small amount of money. So there's obviously an urgency to get this back, because paying it back in the end to a credit card issuer, and then you have interest rates and all this other stuff, you don't want to get yourself bottled up in that. So just trying to obtain a refund is what needs to happen. So Mercari just said, you know what? We can't give you a refund because we don't discern off of what's counterfeit and what's authentic. All right. And they were quite resistant. They tried sending her to a returns team, and that turned into a cluster, you know what. So our viewer had actually, thank God for this, had kind of done this message string back and forth with one person at Mercari, okay, which is cool. Okay, you don't want to get into a message string and then have to talk to a new person each and every single time. You have one dedicated person that will sit there and talk you through this and try and do all that great stuff. And then, that one person will be familiar with your case. So this is where time is incredibly sensitive for Mercari. Now, timing and returns and refunds all vary depending on what hosting site you use to buy your items at. And that's the primary reason why I don't like using Mercari, because of something like this. So our viewer only had a few short days to go out and obtain some sort of third-party authentication to let Mercari know that the coin is indeed fake. Okay, keep in mind, the original seller out the picture. They had closed their account. They've ghosted everyone. They no longer exist. They had done exactly what was the original objective, and that's to steal money from consumers out there by selling these bogus coins. And they're going to do it again. They're going to open up another account somewhere, some way. You don't know where it's going to be at. It could be on Craigslist. My boy Craig has this list, it's friggin' garbage fire. But after a few days of rigmarole going back and forth, they got to a point where our viewer was just sending a whole bunch of emails to try and get get them to see, Mercari that is, that this is a fake coin. She's even sent comparison photos, much like what I showed you earlier in this video, and they were still not bought in. So as kind of a last-ditch effort, Mercari had finally said, hey, you know what? Here's what needs to happen. You need to go out and get some sort of supporting third-party documentation. At first glance, our viewer wanted to really just send the coin to PCGS and NGC. And this was like right around when she decided to email us. And we said, no, don't do that. We have a much better expedited plan, because they had given her, I think, 2 or 3 business days to get this supported documentation. If you send it off to NGC, your goose is cooked. You're not getting anything, because it's going to take 30, 60, 90 days for that coin to come back, and it's to be body bagged, of course, with their little code and all that. So Jeff Stanley on our live coin Q&A team had done just the most incredible forward-thinking kind of like stuff to help her out, and identified where she lives, which is somewhere in close to Southern California. Jeff had said, hey, do this. You need to go to the local coin shop to you by the name of this. I think it's called Fresno Coin Gallery, which, by the way, I'm going to give them some serious kudos. They seem to be just a really good little shop in the Fresno area. So if you guys are around there, I would certainly check it out. Based off of this experience with our viewer, I'd say they're top notch. And, that's exactly the type of wins you want to hear. But in no short kind of Fresno Coin Gallery took a look at the coin, had determined that it was indeed fake. It was a counterfeit. It was a piece of turd at this point. Had done a free written statement on one of their, I guess, receipt paper or letterhead, gave it to our viewer. She scanned it, sent it to Mercari, and bam, within maybe an hour or two, she got her money back on her credit card. So she did use her credit card to pay for this. So that opens up another interesting kind of like exit strategy with something like this. If this were to happen to you, and let's say it's not necessarily on Mercari. I mean, this one fortunately had a really good outcome. They're not all like that. I would say 75% of all such cases, people have paid with like PayPal friends and family, which you're not covered as a buyer if you did use that. Among a few other different, if you paid in cash, like in person, and you bought a coin collection, a lot of it's garbage, hot garbo. But our viewer had paid with a credit card. Now, this is an instance where you can reach out to the credit card issuer and let them know, I bought this item. It came in. It was a fake. It was not authentic. I did not receive my goods as advertised. They will go to bat for you. All right, they will go and do their investigation and do everything possible. They'll probably want images of your coin or goods that you purchase, and then they could give you a pretty good resolution. And since you are their customer, they could more than likely give you a full refund. But that's something that's going to take a good probably week or two to kind of iron out. So that's another thing. Keep in mind, when you're paying with PayPal, make sure you're using goods and services. It does not matter how much the seller is trying to twist your arm into not using the goods and services because they don't want to be on the line, on the hook for the fees. And who gives a crap? It's only 3%. It's nothing. $3 for every 100. It's a small price to pay to do business online. Okay. And that, I keep saying again, do not do friends and family when you're paying for an item from someone you do not know. All right. So, in the end, Mercari said, we're going to give you a refund. Keep the coin. Don't even bother sending it back. And Mercari might pursue something with the seller because I'm sure Mercari, as a company, keeps a lot of the things in their database. So they might have that person's contact information. I don't know. At this point, it really does not matter. Our viewer wins the day by getting her refund back. She gets to own a counterfeit, which is probably a pretty good item just to keep. And the reason why I'm saying this is the 55 double to die offers is one of the most widely counterfeited coins in U.S. coinage history, along with things like the 1909 SVDB, 14D Lincoln, and a host of very, very nice early key date coins, spanning Morgans and seated liberties and all that stuff. But this fake 55 double die is going to be just a great kind of like compo piece to just hold on. So that way you have something to compare an authentic coin with or other counterfeits. Because counterfeits are produced in a myriad of different ways. They can be cast, they can be electrotyped, a few different ways. They could be produced from fake dies, which is another thing. They'll use authentic planchets, that are bronze or whatever the composition is for the coin that they're trying to produce, and just produce fake dies and strike their coins up that way. Now, that's a much more kind of elaborate plan, and all this is to produce your own soft dies and do it that way. But yeah, this is a pretty incredible outcome of a story that, most of the time, like I said, most people don't win stuff like this because in this case, Mercari only gave our buyer like 5 business days to come up with some sort of authentication paperwork. Fortunately, she had a coin dealer that was right near her in their same town that was willing to help her out. And I think with a lot of the good dealers out there, they really do want to help out these folks because we don't want to see them walk away from numismatics. We want more people to get engaged in this hobby. And this is just, again, a tremendous win. Congratulations to our viewer. And good job with Mercari for being a little bit proactive. Yeah, they were a little bit hard in the beginning, but I think it's more of a case of, you know, guilty until proven innocent in all this. And I think most hosting sites and auction sites are kind of like that until further notice, until all the investigative work's been done. Because you know, proof, they need concrete, hard proof to make sure that they're just not giving money back to someone that's undeserving of it. But that's what I wanted to talk about this morning. I got the PCMR working as we speak. That'll be an afternoon upload. But I really wanted to get this video out. We had talked about it in short detail on the live coin Q&A live stream on Monday, but I've elaborated on it, and I want to let you guys know. All right, yeah, you know, it's okay to be vulnerable sometimes and to see something that looks good and you purchase it and you really want it and it's nothing like you had imagined. There are always exit strategies to getting your money back. I just want to let you guys know, but do not fall victim and pay for things as if these people are your friends and family. Don't do that. You're never going to get your money back that way. So that's it. That's kind of like my powwow morning kind of like rant video for the day. You know, hopefully you guys had a good one. Sorry it took so damn long to deliver all this information, but it had a heck of a story with a tremendous outcome. You guys be safe out there. Watch what you buy. Cover all your bases and make sure that you're having fun in the hobby, because if you're not, then you will fall victim and trapped to every single shenanigans that's go on out there. Love you guys. Have a wonderful day. Stay tuned for the next big long video. And yeah, don't forget to like, share, subscribe. Peace. See ya.